Howdy from Texas, everyone. This is Novice Elaine. It's been a while. I've been going to school and been working full-time as always, but decided to make a video of something I made the other day, put together for my daughter's fundraiser here. I made some coasters the last video from Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, and decided that I thought it would be a great idea to try to use something different. And this I'm going to put together and show you what I did. Whether it is just the collage paper that we're going to be using today. This one here is from Tin Holtz, the Flora and the Birdie one here, the Ideology. I actually got these for 50% off at Joann's Fabrics earlier this week. These right here are sold just about anywhere, but I bought this for like $8 for this 160 pieces of self-stick. You can use them for hard surfaces underneath, but we're going to be using them for the bottom of our coasters here once they dry out. You're going to be needing some Hodgepod finish glue. And then what you're going to be needing is matte finish Cryline spray paint, and it is used to put the finishing coat on these coasters, or you can use glossy, whichever you feel comfortable with. And I recommend and it's just a recommendation, a 2-inch brush, because it can go evenly on the tile and you have a little bit more control of that. Not to say that if a 1-inch or a 1/2 inch or would work better, but I found that using anything bigger for me would just not help me control the glue application very well on the tile once I was putting on the paper. So just have yourself an open surface. The Hodgepod glue doesn't give me very much a fume, so I don't normally use the door open, but if you're sensitive to that, I would definitely consider having someone over there, you see that, my little Bailey, open that door for you. So grab your stuff, come back over here, and we're gonna put some coasters together. All right, I've grabbed 6 of my coasters. They've not been pre-treated. The only thing that I did once I did purchase them at Home Depot, they were about $3.47 for about 9 or 12 tiles, is that I got a little bit of mild hand soap and rinsed them and washed them with a sponge and then let them dry overnight. Because when you first get them, they actually have some kind of residue on them, and you really want to wash that off before you get started. I mentioned earlier that you could use cardstock or any of that 12 by 12 paper or any kind of printed paper that you wanted to use. That was one of the things that I had used with the notes that I had for this tile right here. But one of the papers that I really did enjoy that was very easy to work with is kind of like a textured of parchment paper, I guess you could say. And I liked it because it was very thin, and I did find it in the Tim Holtz area, and I was able to take it out so you could see it here. You see how thin this is right here. It's very easy to work with, and I think that's very pretty. So I'm going to be using this one today by Tim Holtz. You can see that right there. I was lucky. I think I got it for 50% off at Joann's this week. So they done run different sales, and I do use their coupons on there, but for some reason it's getting difficult for me to get them because you have to be signed in. And the cool thing is that they do use coupons from other retailers, i.e. like Hobby Lobby, Michael's. You just go in there, show them your coupon, and you're good to go. So this is the paper that we're going to be using today for the set of the 3 coasters first. Very pretty. Now this next step, what I did is I learned the hard way. Instead of using my paper cutter that I have, I would actually tear the paper. So I just grabbed some scissors here, and these are 4 by 4 tiles, and you can use whatever tile size you want, but this is actually a 4 by 4 tile. And what I did was just cut the paper and measured it. And then what you'll do is you'll arrange where you want them, whether it be the birds, or you just want the nest, or you want one of the birds with some musical tones on there, and then you'll decide how you want the picture to sit. What I'll do, since my scissor cutting hands are pretty decent, I like to lay the paper where I would like them, and then I like to crease where I think I'd want them to be on there, and then cut them with my scissors. Now, as you can see here, I decided to use from the paper that I had earlier, focus on the birds that were on that paper. Now, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Like this one, you think you cut it too short or too small, or it's not going to fit the whole tile. It's what you want to do. Do you want to cover the tile all the way to the corners? Do you want to just have it like an accent on there? It is strictly up to you. You could actually just cut out this little birdie and just have it the main focus of your little bird, and then color the tile a different color. And you can look at that from my previous video that I had from Dia de los Muertos of how to put color on your tile. This one I'm going to show you too, if you want to, like we were talking earlier, to make it a little bit closer to the tile end. Your art, your creativity is unique. It is beautiful. Whatever you make makes you happy to be able to be creative. Nothing is a mistake. Now, my biggest thing is the littlest cleanup possible, the better. So I like to reuse things here. So my Hodgepod here that I'm using, I poured a little bit into this little cup here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2-inch brush, and what we're going to do is lightly dip it in here, not too much. And then you're going to put an even coat. You see what I'm talking about here for the 2-inch brush? Now you can use a 4-inch or bigger, but then you're looking at wasting a lot of glue on the tips and then risking it going on the side right here. And so it's just very evenly coated, and you can see here how it's on the glaze, how it looks. And then put that to the side. Get your little paper here, and then you're just gonna lay it where you want to put it. And I love this Hodgepod glue because if it's like, oops, nope, look, bubble, you can gently pick it up and put the paper back down, and it's easy movable. See there? Just gently. If you got a little glue in your finger, you might want to use another finger to just spread it very, very lightly. Get those little bubbles out. Okay? And if you have one that's just being a pain, you just press down with your finger. Press those bubbles down, and you see how they disappear? I don't know if you can see that one, that little bubble right there. Voila, it's gone. You see that? Very simple, very simple. And you can see that. Let me get a different angle. You see that? Push that down. Then you grab your brush again, very lightly with the glue, and then spread an even coat. And you want to be very gentle with this, almost like it's gentle to the touch, like a little breeze, because if you're too heavy on it, you'll tear your paper. You see that? That's my little coat here. And what I normally let it do is dry for 24 hours. What I did was grab a little bit of glue in my hand and just gently, very gently. If you notice your fingers going dry again, grab a little bit more of the glue here or from here, and then just dab, 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 dab. Very, very gently. You can't be afraid to get messy. And all my little art lovers out there know there is mess with this. With any art. Any creativity that you have that you're putting together, with its cards or making, knickknacks or painting or anything like that, there's always going to be a mess. And I love mess, but don't make the cleanup. So just very gently. I did not see any, like with the cardstock, I noticed that because it was a thicker paper, the end started making like little waves, here. And I just got a little bit of glue on the side and just what was that word? I don't even know that's a word. But just tapped it down, and that's it for that one, you see? See the glaze on that? And that's actually going to dry to look like this. You see? Now, with these that I made earlier, you can wait 24 hours, put one more coat. It's up to you. What I did was spray the matte finish spray on there to seal it, because we're going to be putting water on, glass containers or heat coffee containers. So I personally think it's better to have this sealed with the matte finish spray clear, because with the glue, what I'm concerned about, because I've made them before, where the glue, if you put a hot cup of coffee, it starts reactivating the glue. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I'd hate for you to pick it up and then the whole coaster comes with it. Create that look for me, so my coffee cup didn't come directly stuck onto my coaster, was using the matte finish spray. If you're using these for magnets or just decoration, by all means, put a second coat of it or a third coat. But if you're going to stick with the glue for the Hodgepod, I will share this tip with you. Don't overdo it. If you're stacking these with the Phelps on there, when you remove them later on as decorations, you're going to have an increase, an indentation here of the felt pads on there, because I ended up giving some to my mother-in-law and she loved them, but I looked over one day and I was like, oh my gosh, I used way too much glue. So we're going to let this one dry and we're going to move on to the other two that I make. All right, so earlier this week, like I mentioned, they will dry. This one here, you see how that's a little shiny there? It's got the little, it's not a mistake. They'll sit flat, it'll be fine. Like you'll see this one here, it's got little creases on there. It's okay. You can go ahead and use your finger before they dry and just push it out at the time. You can see the same one with this one, but if you really take a little look at that there without the glare, you can actually see how pretty that looks. And then these have already dried, so my next step here with these are actually going to put the matte finish on here. Make sure this one is a very well ventilated area. And then when you're done, you'll just put 4 of these felt tabs on there and put them on the bottom, just like this. Like I mentioned earlier, when you have already completed your coasters, you want them to dry for at least 24 hours. And these have dried for about 24 hours. See how the different texture is here? These have dried already 24 hours. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and spray the adhesive on them. See how different they are? I'm going to spray the matte clear coating on there and allow them to dry for 24 hours. And then here you have some that have already dried for 24 hours, some of the ones that I had done already and allowed them to dry. This one I did with the glossy coat, and the other one I'm going to do with the matte. But then when they're done drying, what you want to do is add the the Phelps on the back for however you want to do them. Some they sell with the felt that you can cut into a 4x4, put it on there and it's fully covered. Stamp your little logo on there, and then they are ready to put a drink on them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up, share, and thanks again for watching. I am Novice Elaine. Have a great year.